Hello and welcome to the second part of this video. We're better to start than where we left off, and I just completed that cell, so I'm going to carry on building my own next one. And something I forgot to mention in the first part is when we connect these two cells, we only need to butt this brush up against our original cell, because if I apply the portal texture to this face of our new cell and remove our node draw, there's a seamless transition from portal texture to portal texture. And that's what we want. We don't want gaps between these things. So when we're adding another cell and connecting it, we only need to butt it up against our original. So I'm just going to carry on building this cell. And again, I'm doing this really quickly. So it probably won't be so efficient, this portaling area, but we're going to come back in again a little bit later in this tutorial and talk a little bit about how we can improve this portaled area by using something called a T-junction, a portal T-junction, but again we'll get into that later. So I'm just going to complete this cell, and just the same as we did before, we just got to make sure there's no gaps, portal around your structural brushes, and we should be good to go. So let's just texture the faces of these brushes to complete our cell. I'm just going to filter out the node draw quickly, take a quick look around and just check for any obvious gaps. There doesn't appear to be any, so let's save and do a test compile. Yep, let this run through to completion and come back and check through for errors, and all looks good. So we've just created two cells, and we're going to carry on making our third, but for the sake of time I'm just going to skip ahead and do that. And that's it, we're done. So we're just going to make sure that there's no gaps and do a quick test compile, and then we'll jump in game and see just how effective this has been. So let's do a quick test compile, check for leaks. Yep, that seems okay. Let's just double check. And at this point, actually, before we go into game, I'm just going to show you quickly what a leak actually looks like in the compiler. So if I just select this brush and just move it out to create a gap like that, save it again, bring up the launcher. Oh, look, see, there we go. It's just given us a bunch of errors there. And this is what happens when we have a gap. You see this here? Error. Portal has the same cell on both sides, portal ignored. And this is why. Okay, so we've got a gap here. So let's just fill this gap. Save it again. Compile. Jobs are good. We fixed that error. So let's take a quick look in game now and see just how effective it's been. If you remember back in the intro vid, I showed us how to load our portals in game. So let's do that first. First we need to load our map in dev mode. So bring down the console and type /devmap map name, and then hit enter and load our map. And that shouldn't take but a second. Here we are in game now, and we need to enable developer mode. So bring down the console again, and you want to type /developer1, and that will put us in development mode. And now to bring up the portals, /r_show_portals1, hit enter, and our portals will be displayed in game. And that's how we do that. I've removed them now so we can get a clearer view of actually what's going on here, and we can see already that our portals are working fine. I've left some of these walls calked so we can see what's going on. If we look around here though, I'm not entirely happy with how that's portaled that area. That's really insufficient. If we bring our portals back, we can see that no matter where we're standing in this area, we can see into this cell. So everything within that cell is going to be drawn unless it's occluded from view via structural brush. So no fear, we can come back in and fix that. So we're back into Radiant now, and we're going to take a look at how we can improve this portaled area here. And like we saw in game, we can see this portal from wherever we are within this area, so it's relatively inefficient. So I'm going to show you a way now to improve this area. And what we could do is just move around these portal brushes, but I'm going to take this opportunity to show you another skill or another technique that we can use for porting. And the technique we're going to take a look at here is something called a portal T-junction. And as you can see, I've just drawn out these three cells, and when you're creating portal cells like we've been doing, it's inevitable at some point or other you're going to have a situation where you have a setup like this. And if I just select the portal brushes that make up these 3 cells, you can see that where they come together they create a T, and that's going to throw up a portal Tjunction error. So if we just leave it like that, save and come in and do a test compile, everything's fine for the minute, and this portal Tjunction error won't show up until the very end. And here it is here, aborting due to one bad portal, and here's the actual error, portal sees into 2 cells, aka portal Tjunction. And why this error is occurring is because this, when the engine comes to compile or read this portal cell, it defines or calculates how many other cells that this cell can see into. And at the moment it can see into 2, which is the aka portal Tjunction. And what we need to do to fix this Tjunction is we need to split the face of this brush. So when we come to compile this and the engine looks at it, it won't just look at it as this whole brush. If we split it, there'll be 2 brushes. So this side will see into this cell, this side will see into this cell, and that will cure our portal Tjunction. So let's do that. I'm going to use the clipper tool, and I'm going to do it on the wrong side, just to show us what we should and shouldn't do. So I'm just going to clip this brush. And another little thing, when I do clip this brush, the newly created face of this brush will be textured with a caulk texture. So we need to retexture the whole brush with the portal node draw, and then we can reapply our portal texture. It's just by default because it does that because it doesn't know what texture it's supposed to be. So it just gives it by default caulk. So just remember that when you're using the clipper tool to clip a portal brush, reapply the portal node draw texture as well. Okay, so we've clipped it along this face, and if I filter out portal node draw, we'll be able to see exactly what the error is we've created here. And I move into this area and select this portal face, we can see quite clearly that it actually overlaps into this portal cell, and we'll still get a Tjunction failure. So what we need to do is we need to align this portal face so they create a really neat Tjunction. So let's bring back our portal node draw, and since we've already split this brush, I'm just going to realign these brushes and move them over. And once we've done that, if I now filter out the portal node draw again and select this face and this face, we can see that they line up perfectly with this face as well, creating our perfect Tjunction. So hopefully now we've fixed that error and we'll just do a quick test compile just to be sure. Again, it won't show up until the very last stages, so let's just let it run through to completion. Fingers crossed. Bang, gone. That error has now completely disappeared. We've got no bad portals and we've got no Tjunction error. So we fixed that, and we can now use this rather than just an error fixing. We can actually use this practically to improve our portaled areas. So how can we use this portal Tjunction to our advantage? Well, we know, or we should know by now, that if a portal cell is occluded from view via a structural brush, it will not be drawn. So say for example, we create a portal Tjunction here. If I leave that brush highlighted, we can see we cannot physically see into it because this structural brush is occluding our view. So whatever remains in this cell will not be drawn until we can see into it. So if I've chosen actually quite a good spot for this brush to be, because if we're standing here, we can't physically see into it. So everything within this newly created cell will not be drawn. So let's take a look at how we can actually do that.